into their politics. This is unfortunate because I think I just think that it just leaves America into a very weak state when you only have one realistic party anchored in reality, and you got this other party that has imagined a reality that does not exist, and that they are then pushing to make sure that everybody else falls in line with that ideology. It's just lunacy. I make jokes about this, but I'm going to be honest. I think right now of Republicans that follow Donald Trump like Bigfoot hunters. They've created their own ecosystem, a real ecosystem. For example, there are people that make a living selling Bigfoot shirts. There are people that sell Bigfoot calendars, Bigfoot mugs. There's a whole economic ecosystem around. There are TV shows, multiple TV shows that have been on for a long time about Bigfoot. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I thought this was the funniest damn bezel. And we were talking about Bigfoot. I think it's a great analogy. And I was talking about how crazy it is that the West Coast Bigfoot...
Well, it's different from the East Coast Bigfoot.
Yeah. You know, he said they both crazy because Bigfoot's in Ireland. I didn't expect that. And then he probably pulled up something to show that there's an actual club in Ireland that's searching for Bigfoot. I just thought to myself, this is lunacy. The scary part is it touches our reality of our politics. And you see people like those people caught up in this January 6th prosecution, because jail is real. They're going to jail. Now we got Atlanta. Some more people are going to go to jail. They're going to go to jail. And listen, that judge on Friday gave he gave a stiff ruling in Meadows' effort to remove his case to federal court. And the reason they want to go to federal court is it expands the jury pool to potential people that would otherwise think like they think. Well, that didn't work. And Meadows had the best case. If he could have won, then they thought maybe some of the other federal actors. But if the chief of staff of the president couldn't convince a judge, hey, I was acting under my federal authority, then guess what? I don't think anybody has a chance. I don't think anybody has a chance of removing their case to federal court. And what the judge basically saying, look, what you were doing was purely political. Now, here's why that's significant from the racketeering standpoint. If none of these people in any of their interactions had a legitimate purpose for what they were doing, it feeds into the conspiracy theory very easily. The only rational reason now that you're engaged is an unlawful effort to overturn an election. And since all of you were trying this together in your own ways, guess what? It's the epitome of what the RICO statute is about. Somebody said it's kind of like this. We held Osama bin Laden accountable for the bombing for 9/11. We held him accountable. He never came to America. He didn't set off any bombs. He didn't fly any planes. He didn't cut anybody's throat. But he was part of the overall conspiracy. That's probably a great analogy, I think, that people can tie themselves into and understand how you bring all these collective actors together and hold them responsible. And so Meadows' outcome of that federal effort, and he's going to appeal it, I mean, that's a big deal. Because everybody else, hopefully, and somebody, can you let me know if that brother got out of jail yet? He was the poor thing that didn't negotiate a deal. Some of these are regular people. You all know I'm a lawyer. I practice law. And it is nothing more hurtful to me when someone comes to me, Bezel, they've got a legitimate legal issue, but they can't afford to fight. They can't afford to fight. I mean, only so many fights I can take up where the person can't afford, but it's really hurtful. You know, somebody comes in and, you know, they really. Now, I may have told this story before. One of my early cases. Older white gentleman comes to my office, and his wife had, not his wife, but his daughter had illegally changed the deed on his property. The guy was old. He'd had a stroke. I mean, I could go on and on about, you know, what was going on with him. But he said to me, listen, all I want to do is die in my house. all I want to do is die in my house. So I set out, um, um, and that's all I did. I kicked the can down the road. And then one day I called to check in on him. I didn't get an answer back. I called again. And then one day this older lady stopped. I said, I want to let you know Mr. So-and-so passed away. And so we went into court, dismissed the case, and whatever may happen. These people, a lot of these people in that thing with Donald Trump, they can't afford to be there. They can't afford, a $500 an hour lawyer who wants $50,000 up front and $10,000. They can't afford that. I don't know what they do. I mean, this is why so many poor and African American Hispanics end up in prison. You can't fight the system. You can't afford to fight, so you have to give it. These people are in a rough situation because Donald Trump is not going to help them.
I was going to say, Trump ain't helping them out?
Oh, man, Trump ain't. Well, he helped Judy. He helped Rudy out. He threw a dinner, $100,000 a plate dinner, up in I think at one of his golf clubs to raise money for Rudy Giuliani. 12 people participated. 12 people came. So that's 1.2 million. But Rudy's got to sell his apartment to raise money up in New York. Then you've got these ladies who sued him for slander, and he's already admitted to that about the voting. They were hiding voting ballots and all this. It's not a good situation. But this is what's coming off of the whole effort by Trump. And this is how the politics are just skewed everywhere. And while the Republicans are dealing with these things, you got the Democrats getting away with, not getting away, but being able to do what they want to do for the most part. Now, whether that's good or bad, that's another whole argument. And I just think that we're going to have to really sit back and really analyze, is Bidenomics really what direction the country wants to go? But because the Republicans are so consumed with their idiocy, you don't get legitimate discourse, nor do you get any kind of legislation. They're consumed right now with trying to impeach Joe Biden. And as you heard when I had the professor on last week, and if you listen to the professor, pick up the phone and call if you think I'm wrong on this. I said, well, what are you going to impeach him for? Exactly what did he do? I mean, in his office as president, what did he do? There is nothing. But you got Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, look, I want to impeach him. You've got Tommy Tuberville stopping the military appointments. I mean, you got just such a disarray, and all this comes down to one thing: weak leadership. See, leadership is not overrated. It's not. Trust me, it is not overrated. Weak leadership. There was a time when a Republican leader on the House side could wrangle everybody in line and move them along. You don't see this foolishness at the Senate level. You may get a Rand Paul one-off here and there, but you don't get this craziness that they do over in the House. Right now it's because you have a weak leader, and they've tolerated having some people in there who are I guess, lack of a better word, who've gone off the reservation. All right. So listen. So if you want to call in, go ahead and give us a call. I just been given the go ahead to just talk as much as I want, so there won't be any breaks in today's show, which is going to be interesting for me. With that to the test. But if you want to call in, if you're out there listening, 813-444-9588, 813-444-9588. My next topic I want to talk about, look, is this thing with, what do we call it, COVID gate. So Dr. Jill Biden, she got COVID. She gave COVID, she got COVID. So Joe Biden says, I'm gonna be masking up, y'all, make sure everybody's safe. He promptly goes to a war memorial ceremony, giving out some war medals. When he's got on a mask, Biden's got on a mask. Biden promptly takes off his mask. The man takes off his mask. There's chaos that breaks out. There's chaos that breaks out about what's happening with Joe Biden. Usually, when I start talking about Joe Biden, there's a certain person that wants to call. Let's see if we got him on the phone. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Oh man, listen, look, man. Listen, you're not only, yeah. Now, you're not only smart, but you're prophetic, because I want to remind everybody when Joe Biden was down in the primary, Carl the trucker predicted, you just wait. You just wait. You just wait. And he turned out to. So, anyway, good morning to you, Carl, and how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, good attorney, man, and yeah, just but you can, impeachment is a political term they use for an indictment. Indictment is just you can indict anything. So when they say they're going to indict Joe Biden, it's just they're just accusing him of something.
Right, you're right. So, you're right about that. Well, there's a trial, and that you're right about that. So, right. And that's a good way to explain. I think if you understand it.
Right. So you're gonna accuse somebody of anything, then proving them that they did it is, So that's and it's just damn, your Republicans or whatever, trying to find some footing or something or whatever, and they're just really like you said, they have really weak leadership, and because they have all these crazies in there that really don't really know politics. They're just doing something and raising money, and they're raising a lot of money.
Well, I think that's the undercurrent that they, when these crazies showed up, they should have got rid of them, right? They should have got rid of them right then and there. They should have, it's kind of like termites in your house. You don't try to make friends with them. You better get rid of them quick. They let these people hang around. Now they've got a footing, and so guess what? Hey, they got to deal with them now. They've got to deal with them though. But let's leave the Republicans alone. I don't like having Let's talk about your house. What is going on with Joe Biden, and how he's handling this whole Jill Biden COVID thing? That he didn't wear a mask. He's around the old guy with the mask. I mean, it's just kind of confusing to me. What should we be doing now with mask? I mean, do you wear a mask? Do you don't wear a mask? Do you stay home? Do you get a shot? What are your thoughts right now about COVID and where things are?
Okay, with him, I think his handlers, his advisors, they're going to keep him away from that. They're going to keep him away from the White House for a while. They're going to. He's well protected, no doubt.
Doesn't seem like it. I mean, but he came out. He was around that old man. But let me ask you this. Let's put Joe Biden. Should people now? What are your thoughts about? Do you wear a mask or do you don't wear a mask? What are your thoughts on masks?
Well, right. Okay. Okay. Matter of fact, situation with my wife has cancer.
Okay.
She has cancer, so she's dealing with that. So the doctor advised her to wear a mask when she's in public places. Even now, our sleeping arrangements has changed because being that I'm out dealing around, and when I come in, I can't be too close to her because of her immune system has been jeopardized.
Okay, yeah. So you're out on the road, you're out and about, in everybody's right. face out there, at Buc-ee's, at the I-80s, TA, Loves. And so the wife to put the kibosh, she put the kibosh. Right. So you say out of safety, you have to respect that.
Right.
Got it.
Because of that, I stay my distance. So with being him, he's 80. He has to stay his distance.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, right. Exactly. Though.
Right.
I think the social stigma has gone away. People are more tolerant. If you want to wear a mask, hey, wear a mask, right? If you don't want to wear a mask, that's something. I think most people no longer judge you because you wear a mask.
Right.
It used to be kind of like, oh, you're one of those guys.
Oh, you wearing the mask?
You're a mask.
Okay, I'm gonna stay away from you.
Right, exactly.
But it's acceptable.
Right. Well, let me ask you this though. Another thing I think that I felt the other day. And listen to me, Carl. Listen to this. And are you in your truck right now? You roll? What you in the car? You in the truck? What you doing?
No, I'm on my personal time. So I'm in my personal business. So
okay, all right then. We'll leave your personal business alone. We won't get into your personal business. But I was checking out the line at the grocery store, Carl, and I was like, I need to get some more gum for the car. And I picked up my icebreakers. I was going to get the purple wave, and they were $4.29.
They went up.
And I put them back. And I thought, that's the effect of inflation. And that's the feeling. Everybody who goes anywhere and shops can feel that. What are your thoughts on the impact of inflation impacting Joe Biden's? Because his numbers are just plummeting. He's down to I think they said 39% favorability, approval rating. What are your thoughts, Carl, on inflation impacting Joe Biden's reelectability?
Yes, the economy, that's going to be a big thing with him because even gas prices and everything else is going up. And right around election year, that's happened. It's going to be an issue, but he really has some plans, some legislation going for that. I mean, we just got to recover from COVID from years ago. Our economy never recovered from that. And it's going to teeter either other way. So, but I will put my faith in him to really get my focus on this.
Well, a recent poll showed he loses head-to-head with Nikki Haley. That he loses Nikki Haley. He is tied head-to-head with Joe Biden. Why do you think that is?
Well, because I think it has a lot to do with Trump. I think it has a lot to do with his court cases and how the news really exposed a lot of his what he's going through. Nikki Haley is more so. She's really staying steady. She's staying on message. So she's going to get some footing.
Now,
she's going to get some footing. But
did you see the debates?
I saw some of it. I didn't see all of it. I saw some talking points. Yeah, I saw some talking points.
I was going to ask you. I was going to ask, what did you think of her performance in the debate?
Yeah, she really like I said, she really gained some ground in the debate. She really did.
I thought so too.
Yeah,
I thought so too. I thought the men looked a little like they were all saying the same thing. I mean, they all looked.
Made a mess.
Yeah,
DeSantis made a mess. He made a real mess. He was too flimsy. He got booed. He lost a lot of ground. So she gained it from him.
Yeah, I think she was the most legitimate. She had the most legitimate discourse up there. That Vivid guys just sensationalized. But I don't know if you heard that speech that Mike Pence finally put out, and Rick Scott. They've gotten a little more critical of Joe Biden. I mean, of Donald Trump. But Pence basically came out and said, "Look, we don't need what he brought to the White House again, or his imitators." So I thought that was quite interesting. You think that's going to help Pence? If he comes out and is more critical of Donald Trump?
I mean, yeah, but now it's a little bit too late now because he had his time to separate himself away from Trump when Trump tried to kill him and hang him in the White House. Now you're right. So so you see the benefit. So I feel like this here: when the country needed you, you didn't. Now you're doing it for your benefit.
Well, he's going to say, well, no, I upheld the Constitution. What do you mean when we needed him, he didn't?
Because you really need, when they were trying to impeach Trump, when they're trying to impeach Trump, he didn't want to testify.
Yeah, but that's not an obligation. What's going to happen? So he testifies, so what? They end up at the same place they are right now.
But if I need you, if you threaten to kill me, I have no loyalty to you.
Yeah, but you're not Mike Pence. We're talking about Mike Pence. We're talking about what he, and now that's a personal issue. The issue is, how does he gain traction in the election, though? What can he do to get people to support him?
Well, I don't think he can because because your Trump guys don't like him, don't trust him because he didn't support Trump, and so you have your he got the evangelicals. He may grab those, but I don't really see that he has any space for him. I don't. He just he's a bottom feeder.
Well, they don't have anything to attract evangelicals. See, Carl, they hung abortion out there in front of the evangelicals to drag them along. That they made that a religious discussion, and they always talked about that. But if you think about it, you really don't hear a religious angle to the election so far. They're not even trying to going after those votes now. They're not even talking to those people, which I thought was quite interesting. That wow, they were kissing up to the evangelicals last time. Now you're really not getting that kind of a message from Republicans. I don't think they have anything to offer them. What are they going to offer the evangelicals? They already got what they wanted, which is really at the national level the abortion overturned. And now
right.
So what are you going to tell them you're going to do for them? You got to tell them you're going to, there is nothing that I think that they can sell to those folks that would attract them, And so with that in mind, I think that they, they're in a pickle. I don't know how they get themselves out of that piece, but the evangelicals are kind of being left on the sidelines while they're battling over. I'm not even. What will be the selling point? And I think the best one is really the election. I think that is the best selling point that they have, but there is no ability right now with all the infighting for them to really do it. Well, I got some music in my ear. Carl, can you hold on to the other side real quick?
Yes, I can.
All right, let's take a while. I know you're on your personal time. Give me a little bit. Hang tight. We're going to take this quick break. Come back on the other side. This is In Touch News Radio. Reality radio, everybody could be a star. We'll be right back after this quick break.
We're playing your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
When you've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is Attorney Clinton Paris from the Law Office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, Attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
Jazz at Miss Connie's House is brought to you by Ray Williams Funeral Home, providing the highest quality, professional, and caring service for your family. Call Jeffrey Rhodes at 813-253-3419. That's 813-253-3419. Or visit him at 301 North Howard Avenue, Tampa, Florida. Ray Williams Funeral Home, for the finest care and quality service.
When it comes to reality radio, everyone is a star.
I know that's right.
On your smooth soul and R&B station. On the World Wide Web.
Access granted.
In Touch Radio.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, reality radio, everybody can do. So I got my man Carl, the trucker. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, Carl is giving me some of his personal time today, and I appreciate that. He's not in his truck. Thought he'd call in. He heard the word Biden. His ears perked up. So he's calling. I want to know, you got to defend Biden inflation. This is his inflation. You got to tell me, okay, if you're telling me I reelect Biden, I'm going to get more of this inflation. I don't know if I'm going to go for that. What do you say to that voter that's worried about inflation under Joe Biden?
Well, I think the country's going in the right direction. You know, we need this. We do need inflation in order to slow some of to slow the economy down. And then, you know, it can reset itself.
I don't know if that's a winning message though. But I'm trying to buy milk and eggs and bread. You know, I'm trying to just get by. I'm trying to keep socks and underwear on the kids. And I literally looking at the store, man, when you start adding a third to prices, that's a big impact.
No, it's up.
Listen, I had to wait to go home to gargle. I was a little tart in my mouth. I was gonna get some gum.
Look, man, you know the Arizona 99-cent iced tea. It's not 99 cents no more. No, it's not 99 cents no more. It's up.
Okay, listen, Carl, I'm about to let you go, man. Any final thoughts before I let you go, Carl?
I just think that the economy is going to get better, but we always see the prices and stuff going up right around election year anyway. So, my message would, you know, we just need that as Democrats or Republicans, we need to get out and vote and really support our democratic system.
Absolutely. All right, Carl, thank you very much. Be safe out there on the road. Enjoy your personal time and keep listening in. So that was Carl. He beeping his horn, man. He gonna get a ticket right there. So that was Carl calling. You know, I'm trying to say, you know, Bezel, the argument last election was this guy's got to go, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So boom. That might work again because he's getting crazier and crazier. Now, last night he was out in South Dakota, and he got the endorsement of Kristi Noem, the South Dakota governor, which everybody thinks might be his potential running mate. That she might be the person that would be on the ticket with him. I just think the Democrats are gonna have to come with an argument that touches on all bases. You know, that lets people feel like what Carl said, the country's going in the right direction. Well, you know, I can't feel defense spending. You know, I can't feel a lot of, you know, stuff that you're, you know, things that you're doing to impact making our government more efficient. I feel those prices though, and everybody can relate to those prices.
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, I think that we're going to have to come up with something that says to the populace, the country's going in the right direction, and you can feel it. Right now, they can't feel it. What they feel is the price of gum.
The pockets are hurting.
The price of gum, and unfortunately, also though, you know, prices normally go up. There was I think an artificial hold on prices during COVID, and then they just kind of jumped. You know, it was like artificially low, and then boom, they kind of jumped. Yeah, right. But now that Trump is rolled out this Kristi Noem person, she endorsed him, which is unusual. See, normally you don't get a lot of endorsements until late into the primary process, right? You normally get a first, because the last thing you want to do is endorse somebody and they fall off. So now it is easy in this case with Trump, because Trump is so far ahead. He's so far ahead. He's not, it's you know.
They're not in this lane. You know?
Yeah, these like FloJo races.
Yeah.
These like FloJo races.
You see,
like y'all not even on the track with me. You know, they're not even close. And so with that in mind, I think that I think people are feeling comfortable pulling their support. I think we've heard that DeSantis his supporters, they ain't got
They're
the
dropping
money.
out.
The money. Well, you don't waste your money.
Yeah. He's not getting his money from the.
Did I tell the story? I think I told the story about, I once gave a candidate some money, and, he wasn't doing well, and he called me to say he was going to drop out the race. I said, you can't drop out the race. It's because you drop out the race, I want my money back. I said, I gave you money to run in the race. I don't have another $50 to give somebody else. You don't have to give me my money back if you're going to quit. So people only have enough to usually give one or two places. And once they do that, they're kind of stuck, on that train. Well, in this case with DeSantis, he's for the big donors. The big donors. We're not giving. But they already gave him $1 million. I think there's a list of guys that gave $1 million.
Right. But they said it was a substantial drop off.
Yeah. Well, I think they said a third, which you need. You have different phases. So that because one of the things that conveys that people are supporting you. But see, here's the thing that skews all this now. It used to be you were limited. There were small donors, only give a certain amount of money, and you didn't have these side packs on the side with almost an unlimited amount of money for campaigns. Well, now you have all these money going in, and it's not individual donations. Obama, he got his bump with a bunch of small donations, which means those are votes. Well, if I got 10 people giving me $1 million each, it looks like, $10 million. Well, you only got 10 people, though. Mm-hmm. And we know now money doesn't necessarily translate into votes. So with that in mind, Trump goes out to visit this. And Christian Nome is kind of interesting how he tells the story. Christian Nome, they say, well, what is he doing in South Dakota? It's not a primary state. It's strictly Republican. Why would Donald Trump go there this early in the process when normally you don't get these endorsements and visits until much later? And that is because I think he's setting her up to be the VP candidate. And so we have what they call the VP stakes going on. Who would be the best vice presidential candidate for Donald Trump? And so they're thinking it might be somebody like a Kristi Noem, who has more conservative credentials. Mm-hmm. The problem you have is the ethics. I mean, the problem you have is, I still can't believe this guy is still even competitive after 4 indictments. Compelling indictments. These are not, these are compelling. This is not some lady from an airplane in 1972 that say you touched her thigh. No, these are compelling indictments. So anyway, we got another caller calling in. Good morning, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, my name's Arthur. I'm from New Orleans. Just wanted to give you guys my props. Appreciate you all on the air, man. Touching on topics that wish I had more time to get in on.
Now what? There's some. I hear some noise in the background. Well, where are you?
I'm actually in New Orleans, Gate B.
Okay.
Going out to Orlando, man. I'm always listening.
Got you. All right. So anyway, are you with football season kicking off? Are you partaking of the football activities?
Man, I got some big plans for it. We got Gainesville on the radar. We're shooting in from Lake Charles.
Okay.
Lake East Cowboys.
Okay.
Taking on them Gators in the swamp. Man.
Whoa. You just slid that in on us. You coming down to the swamp to get a little bit?
Hey, I'm going to get a little money today. I'm going to just put it out there.
Well, good, man. Hey, that's good stuff, though, man. I appreciate that. And, and talk about your connection to the game, if you would.
My connection, my son, man, number 8. People look out for number 8.
Slow it down. You said number 8. All right, and who does he play for?
Yeah, Makai Parrish. He plays for the East Cowboys.
Okay.
All right. True freshman, hailing out of New Orleans, stepping in that swamp.
Okay. All right, then. All right. Well, good. Then. Good. Good. Well, listen, I can say a couple of things off the rip, man. So must be pretty good stuff, man, as a dad to go see your boy play on big time football like that.
Man, it's crazy. If I say just a journey, man, being a part of it, To thank the Lord, been in the position where I'm able to travel.
Right.
They're curing me to get offline, man. I just want to commend you guys. Appreciate everything y'all doing.
Okay. Appreciate you, man. Be safe, travels, and good luck at the good luck in the game.
Nice.
All right, man. Take care. All right, man. Appreciate you. All right, so that was Arthur calling out of New Orleans. Says his son, number 8, Mekhi Paris. Y'all heard it right, Paris. Plays for McNeese State Cowboys, number 8 wide receiver with some big hands on him. Is coming to play the Gators. So, we don't have any people in my family that graduated from Florida. So, I hope they beat them. I hope they beat him. But yeah, that's one of my nephews playing for the Cowboys, going up to play UF. So that should be interesting. Got a bunch of parishes on the road heading up there to make it rockers.
Nice.
So the Swamp will be rocking and rolling because the parish is going to be up in there. It's a road trip heading up there, so it should be a good time. But I want to thank him. And for all the dads out there, man, right now, enjoying your kids out there playing ball and sports, enjoy it, man. There's nothing like it, man. There's nothing like it. So anyway, listen, we got to take our next break. We're going to come back on the other side. Let me say this. If you're listening, feel free to call in 813-444-9588 as we help me get through this therapy session so I can go back out and deal with this world out there. 813-444-9588. You're listening to In Touch News Radio, Reality Radio. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecues? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man. Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen or sundown. 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky. Is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
All right, we're back live with In Touch News Radio, Reality Radio. Everybody can be a star. Again, my name is Clint Paris. I have the pleasure of being the pilot of this ship as we go through on this journey. So I ran across something I want to share with you all, because some people say, well, Clint, you just talk. My goal in life is to also educate and inform. Some people, you just running your mouth. We heard that on the Snoop last week, man. We were at the barbershop with you, and we heard that same old stuff you talk about on the air. It is the same stuff I talk about in the barbershop, or wherever you might run into me, or the library, if I'm being educated. But anyway, so I ran across this thing. It was something written by Marcus Aurelius from way back in 43 BC. He was a Roman philosopher. He just put out a lot of just really thoughtful things that he injected into the discourse. And a lot of times people we associate Romans with the operation of how our government operates and the deliberation and the representative structure we have. But Marcus wrote this, Cicero wrote this 43 BC about wisdom. He said, the poor work to work. The poor, they work to work. Okay? And you could probably change that. The poor work to survive. Okay? The rich exploit the poor. The man's greatest value is his labor. The question is, how do you use your labor? Do you use it for yourself or somebody else? And sometimes that can be simultaneous, but he wrote that the poor, the rich exploit the poor. And this was all about, and maybe I should have captioned this, it's about where you're stationed in life. Where it's almost, because in life, in the way of society, it's almost like a football team. Different people play different roles. Somebody's a wide receiver, somebody's a blocker, somebody's a punter, somebody's a kicker, somebody's a quarterback, somebody's a coach. You play different roles like on a football team. Society has roles. So the roles are the poor. They play a role. The Bible says the poor, they will always be with us. So then we have the rich. And Cicero said, well, the rich, how do they get rich? They exploit the poor. They only can get because they get from somebody else. Then the soldier. The soldier is there to protect the poor and the rich. That's his job. Protect the poor and the rich. Doesn't talk about his economic stuff. That was not part of the initial soldier's role. They were just recognized and honored for their role as being a soldier. The taxpayer, he pays for the poor, he pays for the rich, and he pays for the soldier. And that's why Donald Trump said a couple years ago, only make me not paying taxes makes me smart. Then the other person is the banker. Bankers have always been hated throughout the world. The banker robs all four. The banker robs the taxpayer, he robs the soldier, he robs the rich, and he robs the poor. Because he has nothing but what they give him. He has none of his own. He's living off, he takes your $10, he takes your $10,000 bezel, and he loans it to somebody else. They pay him, $500 for the loan, and then he gives you back your $10,000. You get nothing, he gets $5. Wait a minute, how's this a good deal for you, the person putting your money in the bank? So the banker robs all four. I don't like this one. It's about lawyers. It says the lawyer misleads all five. It says the lawyer misleads the banker, he misleads the taxpayer, he misleads the soldier, the rich, and the poor.
And you decided
and he lives off their misery.
He lives off their misery.
The doctor bills all six. No matter where you are in life, you're going to go to the doctor. So he just sits there and waits for you to come, because guess what? Nature's going to bring you to him. Mm-hmm. So the doctor bills all six of the other ones. Says the goons, they scare all seven. The criminals and thieves, they have no discretion. They don't know where you are. Trust me, you can be victimized by them. So the goons are the criminals. And he says the politicians live happily off the account of all eight. Mm. That is really the impact that we're dealing with, that the politicians live off all eight. And if you ever wonder why our politicians get so rich in office, it's because of that. They live off everybody else, and we need to hold them accountable for what they get from us, what they provide to us. That seems to be the hardest thing for us to do. But I thought that was quite insightful, because it explains, because people think, well, I'm just doing what I'm doing. No, you're playing a role. And if you don't know your role, well, surely you'll be exploited, but you got to know what is your role. Are you a worker? And if so, then you will be a worker. And see, there's a concept psychologically, as we continue our therapy session today, everybody, of conditioned helplessness. Conditioned helplessness. And that is where you see the lions tackle a buffalo, and they start to eat the buffalo. And the buffalo just seems like it just lays down on the ground and waits to be eaten, right? He stops even fighting back. He just lays down, and you got a lion chewing on his butt, and they're eating him as he's still alive. Gruesome sight. Conditioned helpless. When I determine, you know what? There's nothing I can do about this. In another camp, you have the people who are able to embrace change. They always see, no, there's always something else. And that's the difference between the buffalo that lays down and gets eaten and the one that keeps kicking and scrambling and clawing and pulling and tugging, and he gets away. We have to understand our role in society, I think, and it better gives us preparation, I guess, for us to impact the things that we want to change. Cicero was just I think just brilliant in his concept of helping people to understand, because this was during the emergence of the politician. See, previously you hadn't really had politicians. You had royalty, monarchies. And the difference in politicians and monarchy is my station in life is because of something else than what I was born into. Now, I could have been born into something that elevated me, but typically that's considered more of a royal hierarchy where I'm born, therefore I am. But in politics, I am because of something else. Now, what that else is, it could be what you're born into. George Bush. It could be. Otherwise, it could be because I had the money to do so. Rick Scott. It's not necessarily just because I am here and I'm the smartest guy and I have the best answers. That's a whole nother animal. And we're seeing that play out within the Republican Party. We've seen people come and exist and carve out a space, and suddenly, wait a minute, they've made such an impact, now you can't get rid of them. We need to be more accountable to our politicians, and I'm hoping that people will think along those terms. Don't get fatigued. Right now, with media, it's so easy to be fatigued with all the stuff that's placed in front of us that we get wore down. We cannot do that. We've got to stay vigilant, and I'm hoping that everybody will do that as we move into the political season for the fall. Hey, everybody, I want to wish you a happy Saturday. Hope you get out, do something exciting. I'm going to go watch my USF Bulls beat the FAMU Rattlers and enjoy the rest of my Saturday. Get out there, do something, go somewhere, but most of all, make yourself happy. Again, appreciate you listening. This is In Touch News Radio, reality radio. Everybody can be a star. We'll be right back next week on this very same station.